I am that I am. I am loyal and committed to the SHENIXPWR tribe. Stop waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown you. Before we begin, I want you to marinate on this. How many versions of you have been delayed, hidden, silenced, watered down, or postponed because you were waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown you? Not because you were weak, not because you lacked purpose, not because you were not gifted, but because somewhere along the way, approval started feeling like alignment. Validation started feeling like safety. And being chosen started feeling like proof that you were worthy. But inner Shiro, today is a sacred interruption because your crown was never waiting on their consent. Your purpose was never waiting on their approval. And your becoming was never supposed to be placed in the hands of people who could not recognize the magnitude of your assignment. Today, we are talking about what happens when a woman finally stops waiting for permission and starts authorizing herself. Welcome back to SHENIXPWR Podcast, where women remember, rise, and reign. I am Honor Parrish, founder of Shiro Inspires LLC, creator of SHENIXPWR, and your womb conductress for the sacred identity restoration journey. Today's episode is not just a conversation, it is a mirror, it is a threshold, it is a sacred interruption for the woman who has been powerful, gifted, intuitive, resilient, and divinely assigned, but still waiting for someone to give her permission to fully become. Today, we are speaking directly to the woman who needs to hear. Stop waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown you. Sacred pause. Whatever comes up, acknowledge it in love and flow. Because there comes a moment in every woman's healing, elevation, and identity reconstruction where she has to ask herself, who am I still waiting on? Who did I give invisible authority to? Whose approval became the doorway to my next level? Whose validation becomes the evidence I needed to believe in myself? And why did I allow people who could not even recognize my assignment to become gatekeepers of my becoming? This episode is for the woman who is ready to stop begging for permission and start standing in womb authority, because permission was the prison and sovereignty is the key. Permission was the prison the day she authorized herself. This sacred segment is for the woman who has been waiting to be picked, waiting to be believed, waiting to be approved, waiting to be supported, waiting to be validated, waiting to be understood, waiting to be released, waiting to be crowned. But inner Shiro, let this land. Stop waiting for permission from people who never was qualified to crown you. Some people are not qualified to crown you because they only met the wounded version of you. Some people are not qualified to crown you because they benefited from your silence. Some people are not qualified to crown you because your rise exposes their comfort with your shrinking. Some people are not qualified to crown you because they do not have the capacity to hold your becoming. And some people are not qualified to crown you because they were assigned to your lesson, not your leadership. That does not mean they are evil. That does not mean you have to hate them. That does not mean you have to make them the villain. But it does mean they are not your authority. They may have witnessed your pain. They may have known your past. They may have had access to former versions of you, but access does not equal authority. And familiarity does not equal qualification. This is season 2, episode 9. The number 9 carries the energy of completion, wisdom, endings, release, spiritual maturity, and identity closure. 9 says, complete the cycle, extract the lesson, stop repeating the wound, honor who you are, where you were, release who you are not, become who you were born to be. Episode 9 is not the episode where she keeps negotiating with the old versions of herself. This is the episode where she finally says, I am no longer available to shrink for belonging. I am no longer available to perform for approval. I am no longer available to wait for people to crown what God already called. This is the episode where she closes the cycle of permission seeking, not with bitterness, not with revenge, not with hardness, but with sacred authority. Also, the vibration of today is 8. Because this message is landing on an 8 vibrational day, the energy becomes even more powerful. 8 carries the vibration of power, authority, leadership, legacy, money, ownership, self-mastery, embodied confidence, spiritual backbone. 8 does not ask, do they like your becoming? 8 asks, can you stand in it? Can you lead yourself? Can you hold the weight of your own crown? Can you stop confusing attention with alignment? Can you stop mistaking approval for assignment? Because the woman in her 8 vibration does not beg to be chosen. She becomes undeniable by becoming fully aligned. The 5 places women wait for permission. Number 1, permission to be seen. Some women are not hiding because they lack brilliance. They are hiding because they believe visibility requires perfection. She tells herself, when I look better, when I know more, when the brand is perfect, when I feel healed enough, when I stop being nervous, when people finally understand what I'm building. But visibility is not the reward for perfection. Visibility is the responsibility of assignment. You do not have to be flawless to be visible. You have to be honest. You have to be aligned. You have to be willing. Marinate on this one. Where have I been hiding because I was waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown me? Number 2, permission to tell the truth. Some women are not silent because they have nothing to say. They are silent because telling the truth would disrupt the version of them other people benefit from. She has been protecting reputations while abandoning her own reality. She has been softening the story so others do not feel exposed. She has been minimizing the wound so others do not have to be accountable. She has been calling it peace, but sometimes it was self-abandonment dressed in spiritual language. Inner Shiro, your truth does not need to be violent to be valid. Your voice does not need permission to be sacred. Marinate on this. What truth have I been minimizing so someone else can remain comfortable? Number 3, permission to want more. More peace, more money, more softness, more support, more intimacy, more space, more rest, more joy, more pleasure, more room to breathe. Some women feel guilty for wanting more because they were trained or programmed to survive on less. They were praised for being low maintenance, praised for not needing much, praised for being strong, praised for making it work, praised for holding everybody together while quietly falling apart. But gratitude does not require self-denial. You can be grateful and still desire expansion. You can honor where you are and still know you are called to more. Marinate on this. Where have I made survival look like contentment? Number 4, permission to stop over explaining. The woman in her authority does not need a courtroom for every boundary. She does not need a paragraph to say no. She does not need a traumatic backstory to justify rest. She does not need to prove exhaustion before she is allowed to pause. She does not need everybody to understand the decision for the decision to be sacred. Over-explaining is often the nervous system still trying to be accepted by people who already showed they were committed to misunderstanding you. Let that sink in. Sometimes the explanation is not for clarity. Sometimes it is a plea for approval. Marinate on this. Where am I still defending decisions that my body already confirmed? Number 5, permission to reign. This is the deepest one. Some women know how to survive. Some women know how to heal. Some women know how to serve. Some women know how to lead everybody else into breakthrough. But reigning requires a different nervous system. Reigning requires you to stop organizing your life around being digestible. Reigning requires you to stop apologizing for the room your purpose requires. Reigning requires you to stop shrinking your crown so other people do not feel confronted by your light. Because the woman who reigns is not waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown her. She already knows. The crown is internal. The authority is embodied. The assignment is sacred. The permission is no longer external. Marinate on this. Who would I become if I stopped making my power easier for others to swallow? sacred pause. Take a deep breath. Place one hand on your heart. Place the other on your womb. And ask yourself, where am I still waiting to be chosen by someone I already outgrew? Breathe. Now ask, who did I make powerful over my becoming? Sis, breathe again. Now ask, what would change today in this moment on this timeline if I authorized myself without apology? Because, Inner Shiro, your next level does not need more permission. It needs embodiment. It needs decision. It needs the woman in you to stop landing, standing, being invisible. Make an executive decision right now. You no longer are standing outside the door of her own destiny, asking someone else to unlock what has always belonged to her. Sacred SHENIXPWR activation. Repeat this after me. I stopped waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown me. I release the identity that kept me small to keep others comfortable. I stopped waiting to be picked. I stopped waiting to be approved. I stopped waiting to be believed. I stopped waiting to be rescued. I stopped waiting to be understood. I stopped waiting to be validated. I authorize myself. I choose my voice. I choose my visibility. I choose my worth. I choose my leadership. I choose my sovereignty. I no longer confuse approval with alignment. I no longer confuse attention with assignment. I no longer shrink my crown to make others comfortable. I remember who I am. I rise beyond survival. I reign in embodied sovereignty. And so it is. Woman of SHENIXPWR, you are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not difficult because you finally have standards. You are not selfish because you finally have boundaries. You are not rebellious because you finally trust your own voice. You are completing the cycle of waiting, and the old version of you does not need to be punished. She needs to be honored because she survived long enough for you to become sovereign. She waited because she wanted to be safe. She shrank because she wanted to belong. She over-explained because she wanted to be understood. She performed because she wanted to be loved. But this version of you, this version is not waiting for permission from people who were never qualified to crown her. This version remembers. This version rises. This version reigns. Breathe in and let it out. If this episode spoke directly to the woman you are becoming, do not just listen and move on. marinate on it, journal with it, share it with a woman who keeps waiting to be chosen, approved, validated, supported, or understood before she finally becomes herself. And then ask yourself, what am I no longer available to shrink for? Then come deeper into the SHENIXPWR movement, where women do not just heal, they reconstruct their identity. They reclaim their voice. They embody their worth. They activate visibility. They rise in leadership. They reign in sovereignty. Follow the SHENIXPWR Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. And remember, you were never waiting on permission. You were waiting on remembrance. Remember, rise, reign, dismantle the tunnel, become the light. Sis, dear inner Shiro and SHENIX tribe, much love, Ashe.